I've got to ask you about Africa. I've got to ask you about that 1.4 million plays on YouTube. You must be absolutely smiling from ear to ear, and what a message! What a message that song delivers.
Thank you.
Please tell us more about it.
Africa, oh my gosh. So the story of Africa is I don't know if you remember in 2011, sort of early 2011, there was a revolution in Egypt, Tunisia, I think it was Algeria as well. A lot of the North African countries, they were sort of rebelling against the regimes. And you had Libya as well. And I was following this up critically, thinking, wow, okay, it sounds like people have woken up. But I'm also a conspiracy theorist, so I wasn't quite sure if this was, the people fighting for their rights, fighting for sort of freedom, if you like, or was it masterminded by, the West? So I wasn't quite sure about that. But I thought, at the end of the day, we need, in Africa, to be as competitive as the West, as China, as India. But I feel that we're being stifled either by ourselves or by our governments or by, other continental countries. I'm not quite sure what the reason behind that was. But I thought I had to put a message out to our leaders, that basically says, listen, we have all the resources that we can get to become a competitive continent. We have diamond, ore, we have lots of minerals, we have gold, we have manpower, but yet we're viewed as the least successful continent, in the world.
Yes. Yeah.
So I had to basically get on that song and say, you guys need to fix up, you have to do something about this. But also, you have to realize that we have so much more than we're actually giving the rest of the world. And the rest of the world needs to recognize that we're not poor, we're not innately poor.
Right.
But it's just a call. It's just a call to senses, if you like, to get people to sort of be motivated, to be a bit more driven. And Africa is a beautiful country, continent, and we could definitely do better.
Well, we put it onto my Facebook page, and because the message is just so clear from it, it does exactly what you just described. It wakes people up to their situation. Everything you state there is true, and you're talking as much about your own government as you're talking about the West, as you're talking about anything. It is a wake up to everybody, really, and I felt with 1.4 million hits, it had to go there on my Facebook, and it was great, and it got it gets well observed, I think is the way. And we also played it on the breakfast show a couple of mornings back as well, which went down extremely well, and there were a number of comments in our chat room about it, which was great.
Wow.
And it gives a wonderful message. And I also saw you do it on a video on one of the websites that you're on. You did it. It's the second number on the video. I think you probably know the one I mean. I think. I'm just trying to think which side it was on, but you do two numbers on the video, and it's very, very good. So.
Oh yes, it's I think two numbers. It may have been Vox Africa. I'm not sure if it's online though.
Africa's the second tune.
Yes, it's definitely Vox Africa. Yes, it's.
Yeah,
I think it's an animation Vox Africa. Was this an acoustic performance? Or?
Yeah, it looks like you're obviously at a gig with a live band, and you sort of do a brief description of the song, and then you go into it. But that's after I think you do Fizzy Lemonade first. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's with a live band. Okay, I remember. Yeah, it's definitely on my YouTube page. Yes, it is. I remember it. Yeah, I supported my guitarist. He's a fantastic jazz fusion player. So that was his night, and he asked me to come down and do a couple of tracks with him.
That's absolutely brilliant, and you were highlighted in the Urban Music Awards as one to watch for 2013. Absolutely right as well.
Thanks. Definitely, lots of hard work. So yeah, they were very supportive. And they worked with me last year. So I'm just going through a process of sort of artist development to get myself heard, to the right people. And yeah, I'm glad that, you know, the album's obviously well received. So that makes my job a whole lot easier as well.
Wonderful. That's great. So we've got you at Music Connects very, very soon. Alongside Tony Monreal, so that's really nice. We will be there in the audience watching. So Sound Fusion Radio are coming along. So what are you planning for the lineup without giving too much away? Because you may have some trade secrets, and I don't want to pry in there. But what have you got in the lineup?
All I can tell you is I'll be performing your best tracks from the album. And I'll be performing live with bands, so it's definitely going to be fun. And there will be a surprise track on the night as well. It's not on the album, but it's definitely something you're going to love. The other thing I was thinking of doing was Africa, but I wasn't quite sure how it would be received by a soul crowd. So I'm still debating, not quite sure how we're going to do that.
Well,
but yeah. I mean, what do you think? Do Africa on the night or not?
I can't see why not. I can't see why not at all. The message is universal. It's the point that you're making there. You know, you know, I mean, specific to Africa, indeed, and I agree there. But you know, the message that you're portraying is one that people could do with hearing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Think about it. I'll talk to the boys about it. But yeah, it's going to be a great night. Come and talk to me. You know, I'd love to talk to people, network. I've been telling you know, the new friends I've made so far. It's all about relationships. You meet people, you talk to people, you find out how they're doing. You know, and from there, you know, you progress in your career. It's
just a really good night at Music Connects as well. It's a very what should I say? It's a very up close venue. You know, there's not much between the crowd and the artist, which I think makes it very, very personal. Okay. You know, it's a really good night. I mean, I've been to the last 3 or 4 Music Connects. Can't remember exactly how many, but and they've all been exceptional. Met some wonderful artists and listened to some wonderful music. And yeah, it's a very personal venue. Very personal venue, so that's brilliant.
Awesome.
So heading into the future, well, yeah. Heading into the future, then what's happening with Debra Debs going forward? What's the plan?
I leave the plan to the guys who are working with me at the moment, but the plan is I've already started working on my next album. And I've also just signed a distribution licensing deal with a label in Japan. So the album goes out live, it goes in, you know, to stores and online in Japan in a couple of weeks. There are a few more radio interviews I'm doing at the moment, so I'm pretty much just promoting the album. Got some live shows coming up, but I'll let everyone know about the dates on my website and Twitter feed and Facebook. But it's really just promoting the album, doing radio interviews and doing live shows, and working on the next album. Sorry.
Wonderful.